Warning: the following video has not been approved by the Comic Code Authority and is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Comic Assassin. It is June 7th, which means it is day 7 of my trying to put out content every day of the month for you guys. And I've been wanting to do something a little special, and it's called Mini Series Mondays. Right? So basically, what is a mini-series? That could be open for interpretation, right? It's basically, in my opinion, it's a series of 1 to 4 comics that are numbered as such, but I'm also going to include one-shots, and I'm actually going to do a one-shot for today's comic book review. There's some controversy about mini-series, if it's a volume, if it's not. I think Wolverine is probably one of the most, at least in my opinion, one of the best examples to point this out. So basically, Wolverine Volume 1 is a miniseries. So a lot of people don't feel like it should be considered a volume, but it's labeled as such. Just because it's a 1 through 4, and then Volume 2 is a continuous run with many more issues. But anyway, there's a lot of good miniseries out there. There's a lot of good one-shots out there. And then I came across this one-shot, and I read it, and I was like, man, I really want to tell people about this book, because it's really, really good. Once again, it is a review. There are spoilers. So with that being said, today we're going to be doing Wolverine, The Jungle Adventure. Alright, this is a one-shot. This came out in 1990. It's Walter Simonson, Michael Mignola. And basically, let's just jump into it. So how the story starts is you have this tribesman kind of telling the story of... Basically, it's narrated on the outside from their point of view. So basically, as being a tribe, they look on signs, and they're awaiting the Son of Heaven to arrive. And sure enough, here comes this plane flying in, and lo and behold, you can't really see it because of the artwork, but it's old Logan. Logan's in the plane, he plops in here, and there's a rock, and on the rock there's a lighter. And on the lighter it says, "To Logan from Nick." Right on top of the rock, and he's like, "Hey, I've been looking for that." And of course, classic Wolverine lights up his stogie, right? And so basically, he's sitting there, and he's already being challenged by this tribe. So here comes the leader of this clan coming to challenge Wolverine. Anyway, a big fight does happen. Right, but he's resisting. He's not popping the claws. He's like, hey, he's there for a purpose. We don't know what that purpose is yet. All right, but he's there for a purpose. He's not popping the claws. He ends up winning the fight, and the person is... And I've actually seen... It's funny, because I've seen it spelled here. For here, it's spelled G-A-H-C-H. Or C-K. Gach. Or Gach. I don't know. I don't know how you would pronounce it. But that is what the tribal leader's name is, Gok. Anyway, he beats the chieftain, and they're like, "Oh, now you're the new chieftain. You've won." Anyway, so he's back in a cave. He's smoking a stogie, and the person who he beat comes in, and this is actually pretty intriguing, right? Turns out the chieftain was a chick. Right, and a pretty fine one if you ask me, right? So she comes in, and basically she's like, "Hey, you won. You won this tribe. You've won me, right?" They have a little bit of relations, right? And then it comes into like why he's actually there. So cut back. It doesn't say when, but basically he was at a show. Looks like maybe on Broadway. He's in intermission. Someone like gives him a note saying, "Hey, someone left this message for you." And basically it's like, "Hey, this is Jean Grey. please meet me in the back alley. And Wolverine's like, this doesn't even smell like Jean. That's exactly what he says. Anyway, he goes back into the alley, and someone tries to take out Wolverine, right? So big explosion, some people do die. Anyway, he's checking the body out, and he notices this isn't actually like a full-blown person, right? There is an incinerating thing in the hand. It's a cyborg. And he's smelling it, and he's like, this smells familiar to me. This smells like the Savage Land, right? So then that's where we come back to where we are now in the story. So we are in the Savage Land. So if you don't know the Savage Land is been used many times in the Marvel Universe. It's supposed to be a place outside of Antarctica that still houses a population of dinosaurs, things of that nature that have continued to evolve, right? So not just like old school Land of the Lost dinosaurs, but they've actually continued to evolve. Sauron, Khazar, things like that are most notably famed with the Savage Lands. Anyway, so he's going there, he's there, and basically once he gets there, he spends quite a bit of time there. Like he's hunting. He helps kill off some of the dinosaurs that are taking off the tribespeople. He's becoming one of them. And then finally one day that he gets the actual rite where they do the little ceremony, saying, hey, you know, we want to make sure you're one of us, type of thing. And they celebrate, dance all night long. Wolverine actually loves this. He's in his prime. He's like, you gotta remember Wolverine, he's kind of that savage type of guy. He loves the hunt. He's kind of in his element. Like he in his mind, he could spend probably the rest of his life here and be freaking happy, right? Which is, and he's kind of talking about a little bit. Anyway, some stuff happens. All right, so I guess one of the hunting parties went out, and lo and behold, they came back and be like, we're sorry to tell you that one of them did not come back. And Wolverine's like, you know, what's going on? They're calling it the Honker of Doom, right? Honker. The Honker of Doom has returned. And basically what it is a big T-Rex who comes in and I guess has been not being cool to this tribe. But they're looking at Wolverine and they're like, hey, you're supposed to be the son of the heavens, like, you know, what's going on? And Wolverine, knowing that he's not like this god, you know, he kind of questions things and like, you should already know this if you're a god. Anyway, they're thinking that now he's a demon. So one of the tribe's people actually spears him. The father of the guy who went missing is trying to get vengeance for his son. Puts a spear to Wolverine. Of course, we know that Wolverine is not so easily taken down. He takes the spear out, and they're like, "Oh my God, you really are this magical person who we've been wanting you to be, right?" So Wolverine's like, "All right, let's get down to the bottom of this." He brings some of the tribe's people together, say, "Hey, we're going on a hunt," and they go on the hunt for the Honker of Doom. Right, the Honker of Doom. And lo and behold, what happens is Wolverine does what you might think he might do in the case of a T-Rex. He jumps in the stomach, right? And what do you think happens if Wolverine jumps in the stomach of a T-Rex, right? He emerges gloriously. Right. Oh, but this is something I found interesting. So he jumps in the stomach of the T-Rex, and first off, then he starts ripping away at the T-Rex, and he realizes that it's a cyborg too. It's not a real animal. It's robotic. But there's this little thing up here, this little red spiral, and I'm looking at that, I'm like, man, that looks like some Null King of Black type of stuff, right? Right? So I know there's no connection, but just the way it was is like, I would not be surprised. Anyway, he's like, okay, he knows that something's going on. He encountered a cyborg that tried to take him out in New York. He came here, the cyborg T-Rex. He's like, I'm going to get down to it. He went to go get his plane. Basically, you know, he thinks that the woman has taken the plane away so that he won't leave. So she's crying. She's upset. She wants him to stay. There was a scene in a few panels back where when they were trying to anoint him and like do initiation for him, some other tribes chick tried to like help with the makeup on him, and no, God was not having any of that. She smacked her. She said, "No one will touch my Wolverine. You know, he beat me. I am his." So she's a boss. She's a boss. Anyway, he does get his old threads back. All right, he puts on his old threads. He's like, we're gonna get down to the bottom of this thing. So he goes into this volcano. Turns out he's like, I don't remember volcanoes using mechanical oil and things like that to run. So he's like, this is a bunch of BS. And then we have Apocalypse. Alright, so Apocalypse is there. He traps Wolverine. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So basically, this Apocalypse is sitting here and having this banter with Wolverine and saying, you know, how I've been studying you. This is the first time we've ever met. So to me, I was intrigued. Like, okay, is this the first time they've ever met? Like, what's going on? And basically saying how he thinks Wolverine will be the perfect subject for his study. So I don't know if you can tell. So basically, this Apocalypse has been capturing the tribes people via the dinosaur and bringing them back and basically making them cyborg assassins. And it's then told that his goal is to actually take out mutants. And the whole time Wolverine's talking to him, it's like, you know, that doesn't make any sense. Like what I've heard from Cyclops and everybody else is that, you know, you've want mutant kind to take the lead. Like, why are you trying to take out mutants? Anyway, Apocalypse is basically, you know, in control, but then here comes the old savage chick. Ogot comes in. She throws something at Apocalypse, hits him in the head, and then while he's attacking her, she actually gets the lighter that was sent there by Nick Fury, throws it to Wolverine. He uses that to burn his bindings, and he escapes. Oh no. Alright, so now we have a good old Wolverine Apocalypse battle. But a lot of banter, a lot of back and forth. Wolverine wins, but then he realizes that this Apocalypse is a cyborg. This is not the real Apocalypse. Right? But basically, this Apocalypse, his goal was to take out mutants. Right? That was his goal. Takes him out. Really good artwork. I really dug the artwork in this one. Wolverine is victorious. But he's sitting there. And he sees who? And he sees a skull. He sees a skull, and I'm assuming it's made of adamantium. Alright, so this Apocalypse has been up to a lot of things, and all of a sudden a hologram appears of the true Apocalypse. And basically what it turns out happening is that Apocalypse has bases set up all around Earth, or all around everywhere for the most part, right? And his goal is in fact to have mutants rule the world. Like, that's what he wants. But I guess this Apocalypse cyborg that he had went rogue because of radiation, which apparently the Savage Lands is like really heavy with radiation and whatnot. And he was like, you know, it wasn't, I don't know how he phrased it. Basically, it's like, it wasn't worth my time, so I went through this elaborate thing to let you take care of my issue. So the Apocalypse The real Apocalypse sent Wolverine, to the place to take care of this issue. So that was pretty fascinating. Didn't see that coming. Anyway, Wolverine, you know how Logan is. He's like, I'm not having any of this. Apparently the lighter is a lighter one way and a bomb one way. So he activates it and he blows the place up. Alright, he escapes. He's done. But anyway, the tribal people are still on the outside, wondering what's going on to their son of heaven, right? To the Wolverine. And the plane comes out, the plane that Wolverine rode in. He's making his getaway, and they're like, he's not coming home. And Gawk, she's like, no, he's going home. He's just not coming here. So it ends with this. It ends with the tribal leader finalizing the story. The Tribe of Fire will honor his memory and his sacred trust until the end of time. And he will dwell in the hearts of all his people forever. But check it out, y'all. At the very end, we see Gawk. And we see this little guy right here. Right? And that's the end. There's no more to this story. Now, we all know that Wolverine's had some kids. But this was later confirmed, and I forget if it was like a Marvel Universe or guide to Marvel or something. I forget what it was actually announced in. But this is considered one of Wolverine's kids. And it was given the name Arista. But it's a boy. So, which I found that fascinating. Haven't heard anything since then about Arista or this baby of Wolverine. But I thought it was a pretty entertaining one-shot. Who knows? If the right writer got a hold of this, can you imagine if Donny Cates mentioned Arista in one of his comic books? Like, this thing would be this thing would be like liquid gold, right? But there you go. That is my review of Wolverine: The Jungle Adventure. So with that being said, y'all, thank y'all so much for coming and checking it out. But hey, I got something a little special for you guys. I actually have a copy that I want to give away of this. So if you are interested in getting a copy of this, all you have to do is get down in the comments below and let me know of a mini-series or one-shot that you really enjoy, that you think people should check out, and you are in it. You are in it. That's all you have to do. It's a very short window of opportunity. So basically, today's Monday. So by the end of tomorrow, by the end of Tuesday, which means you got to be one of the few people here actually watching it. You put something in there, and hey, you might get a copy of this bad boy. And I'm going to the comic book shop on Wednesday. I'll probably go to the dollar bin, see if I can find some more Wolverine-related dollar bin books for y'all and whatnot, and throw in there too. So there you go. But with that being said, y'all, day 7. I love doing comic book reviews because we always talk about comics, but until you get into it and actually discuss them, I don't know, man. It's great. This was actually a fun read. Like I said, I found this copy in Dollar Bin. The other copy that I found in Dollar Bin. Both in great condition, but great stories to be had. So, let me know what you guys think. I'll check y'all later tomorrow, day 8. Peace.